This is going to be a video about LA Noire, and yeah, so LA Noire is like a great game in terms of its presentation, the cutscenes, the decisions in it, and interactive stuff in it, and yeah, so please like, share, and subscribe. So LA Noire, right? Like it has some slow moments in it, right? But it has very great cinematics, a lot of good storytelling, right? And yeah. So the main gist of the game is that you are, a detective. Like this police a detective, and you basically solve a crime scenes or certain crime cases, and yeah. So you're trying to find the guilty person, right? Via various methods, and yeah. One of my favorite things to do in the game, right, is the lied out truth, right? So through like I go through the evidence, right, or certain specific suspects or victims, and then like you question somebody to see like if everything adds up, and like if it doesn't add up, are they lying? The main part of the game is that you are trying to find evidence. Yeah, like you're trying to find evidence. So there are clues on certain crime scenes that you have to find, right? Whether it be like a bloody knife, or like somebody's hat, or like a cigarette, or somebody's glasses. It could be anything that could lead you to the suspect. It's a case by case, right? So it's kind of like an episode by episode, right? So you go from case to case, right? And yeah, so each case is a little bit different, right? Obviously it's gonna involve different suspects and victims, and yeah. So it is, it does have that interactive ness like in it, right? In how you interact, like with objects. Objects are very important, right? Finding the specific objects that will link you to the suspects. And also, as well, like in the game, not every item is important for the case evidence, and yeah, so those items there, are considered irrelevant items. So going into the interrogating people or questioning people, right? That's a big part of the game. So it all depends on the evidence that you find, right? You gotta take your time on a crime scene, find all the evidence. But once you found all the evidence, right, you can, you always review the evidence. This is in the 50s, I think, where, obviously it was before the times of computers and all that. So everything was by notebook, right? And yeah, so, like you have a notebook, then you have all the evidence, in front of you, and you can always review it. So like when you question somebody, you have to see if everything adds up to what they're saying to you. And yeah. It is tricky. It was tricky for me because I'm not really used, to these types of games, right? But it's very fun though to kind of mess around with it a little bit and then see. The more you play the game, the better are you gonna get at the game, right? As with any game out there, any game. But this one more so, you gotta really pay attention to the details, lots of small details, and yeah. For example, so going into questioning people, you tell. So I can tell if they're telling, I can kind of approach it. So are they telling the truth, are they lying, or is there doubt in what they're are telling you? Depends. It all goes back to the evidence that you found, right? And yeah, so somebody I will tell you that no, this person wanted to go to Hollywood, right? But no, based on the evidence that you found, that's wrong, right? So the person is lying. This person had to go back home, and yeah, so you can kind of you go through the evidence. And yeah, like a very interesting thing like with the game, right? So like early on in the game, I got a lot of questions wrong. So this is music, so musical instrumental cues like in the background. So like these sound cues to kind of tell. So like it's to help you indicate if you got the question right or wrong, right? And yeah, so if your approach was right or wrong. If you falsely, accuse somebody, and you're not supposed where the person that was telling the truth, you're gonna lose. Are you gonna get the wrong tone? It's kind of like a piano tone. So like when you get the approach right, the right tone plays right, and then or vice versa. If you get it wrong, the wrong tone plays, and yeah, it is a very unique way There's also sound, these sound clues and evidence, right? So like when you're finding like evidence at a crime scene, once you found all the evidence within an area, that's it, you're done, right? Certain, this a sound is gonna play and it's gonna indicate that you're done, like in that area. Plus, as well, through the facial expressions during interviews and interrogations, right? You can kind of look at someone's face and tell if they're lying, right? So if they roll their eyes or if they look down, right? You can kind of look for those clues to tell if that person is lying to you. So it is pretty cool. Plus, as well, there is also action sequences. So in terms of action sequences, there is a shootout moments, right? Like where you shoot after suspects, or like you'll shoot after a certain gang, and the gun mechanics that they feel fairly solid, right? Some of the guns I feel very light, and yeah, some of them do are very quick. There's also a chasing sequences, where you chase the suspect, right? And yeah, it's like a basic thing where you hold, what's it again, L2 at a run, and you chase at the suspect. The game, so there's driving in the game, so you can drive. So like I'm playing the game thinking, am I playing Mafia 2? I'm thinking, okay, this is Mafia 2, but it's obviously its own game, so it's gonna have some of those, obviously this takes place like in the 1940s, I think. And back then cars were heavier, right? So playing the game, I would imagine that based on what I heard, back then cars were heavier. So like turning cars, so I was harder at the turn. Cars were heavier, right? And maneuvering through lanes were harder. And yeah, but the cars are more durable. But you can feel that through the driving, mechanics. You can actually fast travel, which I recommend. So you can fast travel, so you can get your the police partner to drive for you, and that fast travels for you. There's a lot of so like in terms of visual presentation of the game, this is in terms of visuals, like for facial animations and character designs, and yeah, all those things, this is one of the best, right? There was a video out there I saw many years ago of the developers behind the scenes, of the voice actors and the facial kind of models, how they they can capture the facial expression and literally put that exact same, like with all the facial muscle movements into the game. So the characters in the game, they feel like you're watching like a movie, right? Like a real person. And yeah, but yeah, amazing in the visuals of the game, the characters, even to the environment, to the cars, to the buildings, inner offices, areas. They look very real. Some of the cons of one con of the game is that as with most interactive or movie-based or decision-based games, it's a lot of slow walking areas. Lots of slow walking areas. Look at Beyond Two Souls or Detroit Becomes Human, Heavy Rain, this game, right? Lots of slow walking areas at the quarry as well. And as well as slow, like interacting with objects can be very slow. The character moves slowly, as it is a Rockstar game. You'll see in Red Dead 2 as well, where if you're in a tight area and you're trying to interact with objects, pick up objects, right? And it is slow, the character moves slow. But overall though, this game is amazing. Like playing the game, it was super addicting, going from case to case, right? It puts you in the mind of the police officer / a detective, and then it kind of, you get through experience and you get better at this case following. And yeah, so like and subscribe. I recommend this game, right? But again, I might not be for everybody, right? But I recommend it if you're into the interactive movie style games. And yeah, thanks for watching.